you're losing opportunities for development. And that's development with your virtual team member to grow and be further integrated on site. In addition to that, we're also losing the opportunity for them to understand that it's not a service. This person is not just providing a service to your office.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Dental Office Managers Community Podcast, where we talk about the issues that matter most and help us to become better leaders in our dental practice. I'm your host, Kyle Summerford. Let's dive right in. All right, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Dental Office Managers Community Podcast. And today, I'm happy to introduce you to Jonathan with Talent by Zia. Jonathan, thank you so much for coming on here today.
Hey, Kyle, thanks for having me. Excited to be here with you.
Yeah. So Jonathan, I brought you on because, you're the expert with virtual talent. And, a lot of our group members have a lot of questions when it comes to hiring, remote employees and virtual assistants. And, I started thinking, I'm like, well, what better way to answer those questions than to bring on the expert?
Yeah, awesome. Love to ask them or answer them, I should say.
Yeah. So I brought you on here, and we're gonna kind of run through some questions that some of our members have had in the group. I kind of rephrased them a little bit, maybe so we can kind of expand on certain things. But we're gonna run through them and just try to help out our group members. So
Awesome.
you tell me when you're ready, and we're gonna shoot the first question.
All right. I'm ready for you to fire them off, Kyle.
All right, cool. Cool. So, all right. So the first question we have from one of our group members is, what are the key qualities dental office managers should look for when hiring virtual or remote team members to ensure they align with the practice's workflow and culture?
Yeah, so that's a loaded question.
Sorry.
uh, when we start really to break it down and peel back the layers, it really starts with the intention. What's the goal? What's the focus? What's the goal that you're really trying to accomplish when you're looking to bring on a virtual team member? Is it single function to free up some of the more mundane tasks in your business? Or is it something to really take your business to the next level, meaning they're going to be hyper-focused in an area, taking ownership of, say, insurance verification, hygiene recare, unscheduled treatment, RCM, and then you start going into even more of the specialty aspects of the practice, patient engagement, outreach, social media and marketing, brand development as well. There's a lot of fun, really creative ways that you can bring virtual talent in. But starting with the understanding of what you're wanting them to do is great. So it could start off with, this might be the first stage of this virtual team member that we want to bring on. We want to have them work on insurance verification. But then the next step for this individual might be to negotiate fee schedules with the provider. So those are some of the characteristics and skill sets you want to be asking and looking for. Somebody that can be more of what Michael would say is an ontological thinker, somebody that can take complete ownership and responsibility, that can ask questions without having to come back to, say, the office manager or the lead coordinators in the front desk, because we want this individual to be operating independently, but still collaborating as if they're a part of the team on site.
Yeah. So you definitely want to, I guess, what I hear is that you want to make sure that you're clear in communication on what it is that you need and what is the purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Oftentimes when we think about virtual assistants, we think, oh, it's just the cheap alternative to getting from A to B. And while it can also be a very, very advantageous route for you to take when you're managing multiple businesses, you're expanding your practices, maybe you're growing your team on site too. It helps making sure that some of the, I would say, routine conversations are almost set on autopilot when you have a trusted advisor to support you.
Gotcha. Great point. Great advice. So now, let's say once a dental office manager or a leader of the practice finds that person, right? How or what is like an effective strategy they should use to like effectively like onboard that new hire?
Yeah. So one of the biggest, I would say, pitfalls or common traps that end up happening when these discussions take place is because it's a virtual team member, they look at it as it's so different from a team member coming into the practice.
Mm.
So usually I'd like to invite them to have them follow the same exact onboarding protocol and process or procedure that any hygienist, assistant, new associate, office manager would go through themselves, because they're the ones getting the look and feel and understanding of what the expectations are in the practice, what it looks and feels like as well to rub shoulders with fellow team members. So having that be a part of, I would say, the introductory stages and periods for that integration timeline, that's very important. So oftentimes practices don't have like a sales or intro deck, right? Come to our office because we do this, that, and the other, right? We're going to use Zoom lightning today versus whatever else is on the market. Well, that same type of approach can be utilized when you're utilizing a virtual team member. Here's an introduction to our practice. You might be filming a video for marketing to attract new patients. That same video content can be utilized when you're bringing on a new team member. It gives them the insight and understanding. It gives them the opportunity to walk through the practice. So that way, when they're talking to patients potentially, they're giving that same level of understanding. The commonality between the language is also present too. So treating it the same but slightly different is very, very helpful. I've worked with a virtual team a majority of my career, both on site here in the United States, as well as working in a corporate office with team members out in other countries. And you become accustomed to it. It's just a matter of what you're expecting again from that individual and how you effectively support their success too. It's
Gotcha.
challenging. It's hard, especially when it's your first time doing it and you don't know what to expect, but you know you're a really good manager and you don't want this to be, the conduit to what makes you a bad manager, quote unquote.
Right.
It's just takes the time. Take the time to integrate and treat them just as you would anybody else, because they're there to be a part of your team, just like your team is.
So take the time, take the time. Those are big words, you know. It's always yeah, I mean, I agree with training. Like even if you had just a person on site in the practice, like you have to take that time to really train them, because if you don't train them, then they're not going to be as productive, right? So I love that point that you made, is just take the time out to really train them so that they're part of your team now, and you're maximizing their productivity.
Right. Right.
You know? Awesome. So now what are some of the challenges, because I mean you're doing this every day. Yeah, this is your main thing, right? So like what are some of the challenges you've seen offices face, when like managing remote team members?
Yeah. That management in itself and
Okay.
communication with them. Communication has always been a point of contention for, I would say, most human aspects and job things that we do, right?
Yep.
Communication has always been the point of contention for, breakdown of understandings, breakdown of expectations, and also breakdown of training, right? Maybe I said something that is a way that I need to hear it, as opposed to how the way Kyle needs to hear it, so he can really digest it and execute upon it.
Okay.
So when we start thinking about it that way, that's where I recognize that we have to actually, again, take the time to really understand what it is that we're teaching and understand whether or not that individual knows what they're also looking to learn. But communication has always been a biggest pain point in terms of how you're engaging with your virtual team member, because they think that they're coming to us as if we're managing their team member. And the biggest caveat to that is we're here to support the success of your team member. Our focal point is the talent. Whereas when we're working with our clients, the client's opportunity is to make sure that they're engaging with their team member. So if you're not talking with them, you're not checking in with them, you're not adding them or to your daily huddles, you're losing opportunities for development. And that's development with your virtual team member to grow and be further integrated on site. In addition to that, we're also losing the opportunity for them to understand that it's not a service. This person is not just providing a service to your office. They are providing an experience to your office, and there are support and services that are, of course, expected as a result of that, whether it be, some of the functions or just the conversation that they're having. But that's always been a big breakdown. So that's one of the first areas that we step into when we're starting our conversations with either existing clients or new clients that are looking to add a new team member, or grow with an existing team. So it's
Hmm.
looking at how we start setting the technology, the tools, what resources are available to just increase the communication flow. There's a lot of built-in features, like within Dentrix, that you can do this open chat now. Open Dental has a chat feature. There's stuff available in EagleSoft as well, or you incorporate some of the other like off-the-wall suite applications like Slack or MS Teams. Those are great tools, and many of them are free.
Yeah. Yeah, Slack is one that I've used actually for my virtual assistant. It's
Yeah.
funny you brought that up. I love it because it's you know, when you have like a quick thought, you're like, oh my God, let me put this down. So you just like type it in, send it off, and you're good. So
And that's exactly how you curb some of those communication breakdowns. Even a voice text. Hey, like I would come and tap on the shoulder of my treatment coordinator if I had an update on a treatment plan. Well, I have my phone on me, so I'm just going to send it to my virtual treatment coordinator now. Here's the update.
yeah, yeah. Yep. So I know you mentioned, Jonathan, about you said insurance verification, right? So that's one of the tasks, or what you can give to a virtual assistant to help you out in practice. But what are some other ways that you're seeing practices utilize virtual assistants in their practice?
Yeah, definitely. So beyond insurance verification, which is is a nightmare in itself, right, to manage.
Mhm.
So
For
having
sure.
somebody take that on that's really good at it, really quick at it, really I would say effective inside of understanding what's present on the forms and then translating that within to the charts, of course. Uh, that's an easy one to have someone do and accomplish and manage very, very quickly. And there's tons of people that are very, very skilled in that, either based in the United States or near shore. But when we start going beyond some of the, I would say, general practices in the practice, that's where we start looking at some of the other conversations that are present, like social media and marketing, patient outreach and communication, brand development within your community as well. Those are huge, huge elements that can play a significant role in your team that can still complement your marketing agency and your lead generation organization that you might be collaborating with. Having somebody that's more tailored and focused to that really allows them to operate as that DOFI, right? Everyone hears about DOFI or director of first impressions. But what if you can go a layer deeper inside of having them not just be the person that's responsible for the first impression, but for the lasting impression of the practice? So that's where you have them on the phones, right? We work with clients that utilize like the Scheduling Institute, the Pinky Institute. There's a lot of different softwares and providers and really cool platforms that are available. So you can tap into them and have your virtual team member utilize a suite of those applications. A lot of my virtual team, when I was working both in a practice and outside of a practice, we had developers. So that way they were managing and updating our website. It was more of a controlled discussion versus me having to pay maybe another $150 for this edit request because I've reached my
Mhm.
limit for this month, right?
Mm.
Now
Yep.
we have somebody that's available to do this because they're skilled in website development, creation, or editing, or even supporting some of the backend configurations that might be needed because, again, you might have a big audacious goal that you want to launch. You yourself, you're launching an event, right? You can have a
Yeah.
virtual team member supporting some of the lead generation inside of creating awareness around your event that's coming up, tapping
Mm.
into office managers to get them on your schedule to learn more, right? It's all around growth and leverage. How do you make sure that you, as the individual practitioner, provider, contributor of the organization, the leader, what have you, whatever your title is, how are you feeling successful? And then how are you contributing to the next individual's growth and development as well? So lots of fun, creative ways.
Yeah, yeah, I mean that was a lot to take in, but you made it very clear. And so, I appreciate you taking the time out to kind of go through these things, because a lot of the group members, they ask like what should I hire a virtual assistant for, I'm short staffed, I keep getting told like, hey, hire a virtual assistant, get some remote help. And it's good to like really have kind of like a layout from someone who's doing this every day, like yourself. Because, as office managers, we have a lot of things that we think about on a daily basis. And we're like, where do we start? How do we start? What do we do? How do we delegate? Right? That's delegation is like key as an office manager. So
Yeah.
you laying it out like this is beautiful. It's wonderful. So appreciate you kind of running through that with us. Now, what would you say to office managers or dentists, right? Who are like, well, I don't know if I really want a remote person just finicking around in my system. Maybe we have credit cards on file. Maybe we're worried about security and things like that. That's always a thought that comes up in the group. So what would you tell one of the members who's worried about things like that?
Yeah, how are you managing those risks within your practice? There's embezzlement taking place on offices all around the country. I've learned about it from previous clients, and it's an unfortunate experience to go through. So hearing that, it's making sure that we have the right technical compliant individuals within our network as well. So we work very closely with Amy Wood with Copper Penny Consulting. She's our like fractional compliance officer, if you will.
He's awesome. He's awesome.
So working with her to, spot check, understand, do we need to install a VPN tower? Do we need to utilize this type of platform like remote PC or another type of plugin to where we can remote securely into a practice management system? And then we also discussed with our IT manager, his name is Steven. He's amazing. He's like a cloud engineer too. So he builds how we need to connect into the systems securely, remotely, and confidentially, excuse me. Um, so making sure that we discuss, what are the impacts, and then connecting our IT team with the IT team of the practice. So that way they're doing their tech talk and making sure all the bells and whistles are working and everything's moving and driving the way it should be. That's important to us. We have all of our clients sign a HIPAA agreement, a BAA, because we need to ensure that the data and information that we are gathering and collecting and beginning to understand, we need to make sure that we're secure about it. It's a huge risk if that information is not managed or maintained. We don't want to cause or create any form of HIPAA violations. And then if we see them, we point them out. So that way we are not caused or at the effect of those challenges, or the team member is going to be blamed for it. We want to identify what's currently happening today, so we know what we're working from and what we're looking to correct. Especially like, say, claims are over 90 days, right? Why is it off the wall and out of the wall, right? We need to understand what some of those components are that are building up to that, but we have to be able to access the system securely in order to do so.
Wow. Yeah. So I mean, you summed that up beautifully, and it sounds like you guys are doing things by the book. You're not just hiring someone in another country to jump into a practice management system, which I knew that, but I wanted you to kind of share it with our audience because I know you're awesome. Your company is great, and you guys work with a lot of practices out there. So you guys have been around for a while, so I know you guys are doing things the right way. But that's always, it's always a concern. I see it in the group sometimes, and someone's like, "Hey, I don't know if I really want to hand this off, because I'm worried, but yeah, thanks for kind of running through that, and just kind of like calming our nerves, right? Or calming our group members' nerves. Like, don't be scared to hire, a virtual assistant, and the reality is, right? And you can probably, give your take on this too, but I feel like systems are very secure nowadays, especially with like cloud-based practice management software, and most dental practices are working with IT companies. So, they have firewalls and things like that. But I mean, hey, you never know, right? Never know.
Yeah, seriously, you don't know what's available. You don't know what's going to be present inside of, just technical changes and updates that get released as well. Back in my corporate days, I remember there was a little, well, you know Clippy. So
Yeah.
Clippy
Clippy.
icon hasn't been around for a long time,
Yeah.
but it popped up on a peer of mine's desktop computer, and it was a maintenance update request coming from our internal IT team. Now, mind you, we worked for like a literally Fortune 14 company, and Clippy was floating around saying he was giving updates. I would have called it just because I am who I am, but this individual clicked him and it shut our entire accounting
Oh,
software down for a little over 9 hours. So
oh my
my
gosh.
entire
Wow.
customer service team, our sales department was closed. We were having to take order forms like on a paper form again. It was crazy. So people are creative. And this was, I want to say, back in like 2014. And so almost 10 years ago. And now we're dealing with, crazy other things that are happening, hacking
Yeah.
tips. tricks. Chat GPT can teach you how to do all those things. So
Crazy. Yeah.
you never
And
know.
yeah. I remember Clippy. I miss Clippy.
Yeah.
I miss Clippy. Clippy was good, like you didn't know how to do something or, change something up. Clippy would just give you the answer. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
awesome. I
exactly.
guess now we have Chat GPT as Clippy, I guess.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But you touched on one thing, Kyle, that I want to make sure that I highlight, which is, just because you may try it or you might have operating out of fear because you tried it before and a virtual assistant didn't work or wasn't successful, I would say treat it just like how you would a negative patient review. A negative patient
Mm.
experience is a single experience. How are you creating the experience for the rest of your patients is speaking more to who you are in your community. So, same regard when you're looking to build on your next team member, whether they're virtual or on site, there's going to be a development and an investment either way. And hopefully it's in your favor, but just got to ask good questions and make sure that you're super clear on what you're looking for.
Yeah, thank you for that, Jonathan. So now I know how awesome of a company you guys are because we've worked together for quite some time now in the group. But for our members in the group who may not be familiar with Talent by Zia, why don't you kind of just give us a little bit more background info on what you guys do for practices, um, and just kind of run through it with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So Talent by Zia, or Zia for short, we work within dental practices, whether they're small, emerging, or large-scale organizations, whether they're a dental practice or even dental entrepreneur. We focus on talent optimization. So it's all around how you're attracting, finding, acquiring, and then of course retaining and developing your team members. We're here to support that you have the resources, the methodologies available to you. Everything that we focus on is IO psychology based. I'm IO psychologist, so we want to make sure that all the fundamental knowledge that we've done our research and understanding on, that you also have access to and have the resources available to you too. So we offer a variety of different solutions from coaching, consulting to actually finding and hiring your next virtual team member or on-site team member. So we're here to support. We focus on one thing, and that's talent, because talent is always in motion. So are we.
Yep. Awesome. Awesome, Jonathan. Yeah. So listen, I really want to appreciate you jumping on here today and kind of like giving us like an educational session here. Um, my goal for the group is to work with companies like yours that are well respected and trusted in the dental community. And so you jumping on here and just sharing a little bit of what's going on and how office managers can make their lives easier or just better, right? It is the best thing that you can do. So really appreciate again you coming on here and taking the time out today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Kyle. Appreciate it and appreciate you.
Yeah, awesome. So guys, Talent by Zia, or Zia for short. If you guys are interested in hiring virtual talent for your practice, reach out to Jonathan Bonanno or Michael Bonanno. You will see their name mentioned throughout the group. And if you guys need the right talent for your practice, don't hesitate. Jonathan, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Take care.
Thanks, Kyle.